Welcome everyone here, family, friends, students, staff members, fans. It's an exciting day for Valparaiso University, for the Valparaiso University Athletic Department, and for the Valparaiso University men's basketball program. It's my honor to introduce to you the Valparaiso University Director of Athletics, Mark LaBarbera.
Thank you very much. This year we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of intercollegiate athletics at Valparaiso University. We are proud of the strong tradition Valpo has built over the years of excellence on the playing fields. We are equally proud of the excellence has been achieved by true student athletes who represent the university with determination and integrity. Over the past 100 years, we have had many athletic successes in many sports, in many venues. For many in our community and across the country, the men's basketball program has come to represent these collective successes. The men's basketball program, like the university it represents, has a rich history and tradition. This rich history includes a long line of accomplished players. From Bob Dilley and Bob Metcalf, our first All-Americans in the 1940s, to Jim Ove, the Conference Player of the Year in the inaugural season of the Indiana Collegiate Conference, to Bruce Lindner, the ICC Player of the Year in 1970, to All-American Jim Meany in the 1980s, to Bryce Drew and our appearance in the NCAA Sweet 16 in the 1990s, and to our most recent All-American, Alec Peters. Valpo has seen many great players take the court. From Coach Lauren Ellis, who took the world's tallest team on its first visit to Madison Square Garden, through Gene Bartow and his team's 3 NCAA postseason appearances, to Homer Drew and his unprecedented 8 conference championships and 7 postseason appearances, to Bryce Drew and his 4 conference championships, 2 NCAA appearances, and the program's recent return to Madison Square Garden, our basketball teams have been led by accomplished coaches. Today is my great pleasure to be standing here today with the next leader of Valpo basketball. A 2004 graduate of Stanford and a member of their 2001 and 2004 Pac-10 championship teams, he played professionally overseas for 10 years and has been a member of our coaching staff for the past 3 years. Over that time, he is impressed with his basketball intellect, his integrity, his energy, his ability to teach, and his passion for the game. And what has really stood out to me over the past few days, his genuine excitement to assume a leadership role and his enthusiasm for Valparaiso University and the young men that make up our basketball team. It is my pleasure to introduce to you today the 22nd head coach of the Valparaiso University men's basketball team, Matt Lottich.
Thank you. Now, if you're wondering if my wife is here, she's the woman that just exited with my baby screaming. So, and if you see any other little blonde children running around the basketball court, those are mine. All right. And I'm sure the first question you guys are all wondering is, Coach Lottich going to make his staff wear dark suits, white shirts, and gold ties? And the answer is that, I don't know. I like camaraderie. But truthfully, I didn't have any other suit. And I didn't have any other ties, so this is what I'm wearing right now. And in all sincerity, guys, I am truly honored and truly privileged to be the next coach at Valparaiso University. 3 years ago, when Bryce Drew hired me on staff, I came with my wife, and we sat down and went to a little coffee shop, and really just brought in the community as a whole, and said, this is a place, this is a university that embodies everything that we want to do, everything that we want to be, everything that we are. And it is a perfect community and university environment to raise our family. And if you know me at all, that is going to be the most important thing for me. And so for my children and my wife, we are extremely grateful and extremely excited about the opportunity to lead the men's basketball team here. Recently, as our season concluded at Madison Square Garden, I sat back and reflected. And I reflected on the environment I was in, I reflected on the success that our team had had, and I really reflected on the players that I was allowed to coach. Valparaiso University has players that have extreme integrity, extreme character. They play extremely well together. They're a cohesive unit, and they fight like mad. And that is the type of team that I want to coach. And there's no doubt, guys, that Valpo basketball has had a consistent name behind its program for the last 28 years. And as we look at change, we can look at it two ways, and I explained this to my team earlier. We can look at it as scary, or we can look at it as opportunity. And as I was going through this process, when I was talking with Athletic Director LaBarbera, President Heckler, Michael Joseph, other administration, I realized that this university is extremely committed to not only maintaining Valpo greatness, basketball greatness, but taking it steps further. That's my plan. We're not going to stand by idly and just dwell on our successes. No, we're going to push this thing forward. If we're here, I want it here. If we're here, I want it here. And we're going to do that through the way that our team played this year, but we're going to expand on that. Our team, the team that I coach, is going to be extremely competitive. They're going to be extremely cohesive. They're going to fight like mad for one another. They are going to honor the name on the front of their jersey. I can guarantee that. And although there's been a lot of change, one model of consistency here for the last 14 years has been Luke Gore. So I want to publicly acknowledge Coach Gore and the service that he has brought to this university, and publicly say that, Coach Gore, there is no way this program would be where it is today without you. And Coach Gore is going to join me on staff, and I am thrilled and excited that he will do that. So as we move forward, I want to just encourage everyone to get as excited about this as I am. I want the community to draw on their support that we finished with last season, and let's get after some people next year. Thank you.
We'll now take questions from the media members in attendance for Coach Lottich, Athletic Director LaBarbera, and President Heckler. Just address whoever your question is to.
Coach Lottich, Paul Lawrence from the Northwest Indiana Times. Welcome to Valpo.
Thank you, Paul.
Just what has the last 72 hours been like for you? I mean, how fast did all of this move, and have you had a chance to catch your breath or anything?
I think the appropriate question should be, how much have I slept? No, it's been exciting. It's been emotional. But again, meeting with the university, understanding, what their commitment is to, growing this program, I can't tell you, I'm just excited, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
Matt, what's the biggest challenge moving from the assistant position to the head coaching position?
That's a good question. I mean, right now, I have 3 years of coaching experience, and some people would say that, it might not be enough. But the reality is, I graduated from Stanford University, played for a Hall of Fame coach. I knew at that time I wanted to be a coach. So as I continued in that playing career, and then into my professional career, I played for the head German team national team coach, Achim Kuschmann. So I was constantly developing strategies and ideas of what I wanted to do. And then when Coach Drew gave me the opportunity, I got to learn from one of the greatest. There's no doubt about it. He's a basketball savant. I'll say that till the day I die. And so I have an idea of what I want to do. I have an idea of how I want to play, and I have great players, and so that makes the job easier. So we got to get out on the recruiting trail. Today was actually the first day of open recruiting, so we got to keep getting good players with high character, keep this thing moving in the right direction.
Coach, you talk about recruiting. How much do you have to recruit your own players and make sure they stay in-house here?
That's a great question. Guys, honestly, this is one of the closest teams I've ever been around, and this team loves each other. This team wants to play with one another. And this team actually had a team-only meeting talking about how they wanted to stay together. And I think that shows their character and shows their commitment to this university.
Coach, what do you expect the coaching staff to look like for next year?
I'm a fellow Trevian.
Yeah.
I like it. You know, right now I'm ecstatic that Coach Gore agreed to join me on staff again. I can't tell you how much I think of him and how great of a coach he is and how much he's done for our program. So that's a great start. You know, right now we have a bunch of names. You know, we're going to be doing a lot of interviews. We do want to fill our staff quickly. We want to get on the road recruiting. We want to get working out with our guys and get this thing going again.
Coach, there are always differences between two different coaches. What's one thing that you think they'll do differently than Coach Drew?
Well, honestly, I learned a lot from Coach Drew, and a lot of the things that he does, I'll try to implement. But I think the style that I run my team, you know, we're going to play very hard. We're going to be very competitive, but we're also going to probably mix in some early offense. You know, try to get after a little people, maybe put a little more pressure on the ball defensively. You know, get a little more possessions in the game. But you know, honestly, we got to sit down as a coaching staff. You know, evaluate our talent, evaluate what we got coming in. Obviously, we lost 4 great seniors, and they were a big part of our program, big part of what we do. So you know, we're going to adapt our style to the personnel that we have.
Coach, the Horizon League has had 40% coaching turnover this year, but you being here, does that give Valpo a leg up on maybe some of the other programs who are starting from scratch, it seems?
Yes, I would say so. You know, right now there is a transition in our program, but we have 2 of the same coaches on our staff, and we have an idea of how we want to play. We have an idea of our personnel, and we have an idea of, you know, what we're looking for in recruiting. So there's not going to be a big system change. There's not going to be overall changes, and you know, we're going to, you know, try to keep this thing moving in the right direction.
Mark, 3 years of coaching experience. Again, you know, people look at that and say it's not a lot, but what do you see when you look at Matt Lottich?
What I see, when I looked at Matt Lottich, is somebody who has a passion for basketball, who spent his entire life in the game of basketball, a standout in high school, a standout in college, a standout professionally overseas, had the opportunity to play for some, I think, tremendous coaches. I actually see a lot of similarities between Coach Lottich and Coach Drew when we hired him. They both had played for some tremendous coaches. They both had a lot of success at all the levels they had been at. As I looked at Matt, I know that his basketball intellect is very good. I've seen his leadership skills around the team. I was very comfortable with that. So the years of coaching experience is one thing, but a lifetime in basketball and understanding what that is at the highest levels, I think that gives him an experience base that's important. Plus, I think it's also important, he had mentioned it, I mean, the basketball team here is a family. And as you look at the mid-major programs that have sustained success, excuse me, have sustained success over the years, they're the ones that stay within the family. They're the ones that identify the quality leaders in their program, in their family, and to give them the opportunity to step up and lead. That's what Gonzaga did, that's what Dayton's done, that's what Butler's done to a great benefit to their program, and I see the same thing here. We have somebody that understands our family, understands our culture, has a passion for basketball, has competed at the highest level, has a keen basketball intellect, and I think that's what you want in a basketball coach. So.
Coach, there's a story circulating on Twitter that you were once recruiting a player, and then you were at a Park League softball game, and you were on the phone with the player, and for 2 innings you continued to play in the game while talking on the phone. Is that true? And is that your competitive drive right there? Not wanting to step away from the softball game or the phone call?
Hey, I didn't know how competitive Valparaiso softball was. That is a true story, and to add to it, I actually got an out in the outfield. And for about a season and a half, my team, you know, the field's always wet there. It's always wet. And I played in gym shoes, and I was slipping all over the place. So they finally got me some cleats, and I was able to make that catch.
Mark, how did the process work? Is it your decision? How much was President Heckler involved? Were there any other people you reached out to in terms of deciding on Matt as the head coach?
We've had the opportunity to think about this a number of times. We've had the opportunities to have discussions about it. So it's been my good fortune that I've had the opportunity to have conversations with President Heckler and Vice President Michael Joseph about what we would do, what would the succession look like. So that's something we've had the opportunity to do on multiple occasions. So we had a pretty good idea. And I'll go back to what I had said before. The successful mid-major models, if you look at them, they hire from within. And truthfully, that's what we did the last time. When we hired Bryce Drew, we hired off our staff. And I think that model works. So we knew that that was the model we wanted to pursue, and we felt confident that we had people on the staff that could fill that role. I'll give Bryce Drew credit where it's due to him. He put together a tremendous staff, and that was something we asked him to do. We said, put together a staff and help us develop your successor. And he did that. And so, you know, that process was actually probably went smoothly. And although we did make sure that we had reviewed all of our options, we kept coming back to, we've got a plan, we've thought it through, this is absolutely the right thing to do.
President Heckler, to the alums, the fan base and all of that who may feel a bit of uneasiness about 28 years of one name, just what message do you give to them?
I think Mark started to lay that out pretty well. Valpo takes care of its own. And Matt Lottich is part of the Valpo family. And that it's going to be important for us to gather around a man who's committed to this university and loves it, and a guy who really understands at a very deep level what it means to be family. So I just think for everybody at Valpo, this is about supporting a member of our family and doing everything in our power to help him succeed.
Coach, what have you learned from the coaches that you've played under, and how do you plan to use what you've learned as a coach?
You know, every coach has a different philosophy, a different way to communicate, and really just different belief systems. You know, I've been fortunate to play under many coaches, and you know, I'm going to take something probably from each of them. You know, stuff that I would do, stuff that I wouldn't do. But again, I mean, a little premature to kind of just tell you what I'm going to be doing, just because, you know, I got to hire a staff. You know, we got to fill out our roster. We got to see what we got. But I'm not going to be a coach that's married to one system. You know, I'm going to get the best players at the highest character that we can, and we're going to put them in the best positions to be successful.
That obviously you have one recruit who had a chance to reach out to Mike.
I have not leaked the story, which my phone, it seemed like it was on constant, about to blow up, I should say, about an hour before this meeting started. So I told Micah that he would be fine, and that he should look forward to coming to Valpo University, and I'll reach out to him shortly after this.
Coach, you talked about the success of this basketball program throughout the years in terms of the banners that continue to be lifted to the rafters. Can you, in the context of you saying pushing this program forward, what would be some of the specific objectives, the specific goals that you are going to set in particular to your basketball program as you now take over?
You know, I think that a lot of success can be defined in the postseason. And, you know, last year, you know, we weren't fortunate enough to make the NCAA tournament, although I thought we had a team that was good enough. So for me, I want to make the NCAA tournament. That's a goal. And, you know, Valpo hasn't won a game in the NCAA tournament in a long time. So let's get there, and let's win a game. And let's win two. Let's get to the second game. I mean, let's push this thing as far as it can go. We have the talent. We have the support staff. I believe we have a good coach. So I really think the sky's the limit for this university.
What's it going to be like to be on the front coaching this team as a coach?
I'm so excited. I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait.
Coach, do you like timeouts? Do you want to get rid of them as quickly as possible? What are your thoughts on how you use timeouts as maybe compared to the previous coaches?
I am of the opinion that I want to have ample timeouts at the end of a game. So if I don't have to use one, I'm going to save them for the end of the game in case we need them.
Will Coach Gore have the same role that he had before? You talked about how you divvy up responsibilities to cover for the staff a lot.
Coach Gore has extreme strengths, and he's going to have a lot of the same responsibilities, but a little that's premature until we get our staff together and kind of talk with one another and what our strengths and what our weaknesses are and how we can complement one another.
Anything else?
I got something. I'd love to introduce you to my family. So, Mrs. Lottich, please come up. Oh, go on, come up here. All right, Gracie. MJ. And I don't know where our baby is.
Yeah.
So this is why I do it all. I love it.
Coach Lottich, Athletic Director LaBarbara, President Heckler will be available for one-on-one questions from the media members. We'd like to thank everyone for coming out today, and go Valpo.